person-centered plans are a great assessment. I love this process. This is one of my favorite assessments to engage in with teams and families. And we had talked about it. It came up in the poll earlier, and I saw that some of you said that you would use the information from a person-centered plan, which is great. It's a planning process that involves a team of people, including family members, caregivers, friends, and professionals that are working with the child. And the goal is to come together to support the individual's goals. So the child is always the center of this assessment. And the person-centered plan helps identify and address personal goals. So that could be things like, I really want to improve my communication skills, or increase independence, or find meaningful employment. And it respects the individual's dignity, preferences, and right to make decisions about their own life, right? We want to have control over the decisions that are made about what's happening in our lives. And so this really puts that decision back in their hands. And from this process, teams can better identify appropriate goals and supports that are needed. If you're in Washington State, the Washington Department of Social and Health Services, or the ARC in the different counties around the state, typically have a person who is a facilitator and can help with that, or they can help connect you with one. It really is a holistic assessment. It considers the students' experiences, their preferences, their desires, and it doesn't focus on limitations, but builds on their strengths, their skills, and resources, and empowers them to make meaningful progress. So it's their preferences, their aspirations, and their values that really guide this plan. And the purpose is to understand their unique needs and goals, rather than just kind of applying a one-size-fits-all solution. So the benefits of a person-centered plan, it really is a comfortable experience for the person and the family. I always say it's like daydreaming about the future, right? I don't know about you. I daydream about my future all the time. Where do I want to be in 10 years? What do I want my life to look like in 10 years? And that's really what this process is for our students. Here are the things that they enjoy, and how do we help them to incorporate more of that into their life? It lets the person and the family speak first. It gives educational and other service providers a better understanding of the students' and families' dreams and fears. As an educator, I may have an idea of what's important, but it may not be what's important to the student or the family. This is their opportunity to share what they want for their child, or for the individual to say, this is what I want my life to look like. It offers a visual and immediate picture of the student's situation. You look at their past, their history, what has worked well in the past, what hasn't worked well, what things they enjoy, what their desires are. And that information helps to identify and prioritize needs. So on the screen is an example for a young man. And there are 4 colored boxes around the screen. So on the left, upper left corner, it's an orange box, and it says vision, hopes, and dreams. A couple of his vision, hopes, and dreams include lots of friends, graduating high school with a diploma, reaching his potential and excelling, being fully included in his community. Underneath that, in the green box, is what works: technology, sports, having choices, using visuals, music, providing processing time. In the upper right-hand corner are strengths. So he's smart, he's a learner, he's a worker, he enjoys that. He is determined, he's a storyteller. And then in the bottom right corner is a red box. It says what doesn't work. So obviously some food sensitivities or allergies, gluten, dairy, and soy. Being bored, yelling. He needs sensory breaks, so not providing them, that's going to be problematic for him. Having low expectations. So this is one way to summarize the information from a person-centered plan. If you are interested in learning more about person-centered planning, charting the life course framework is just another option for that. Their website has lots of videos about the process. They have some stories about success stories. And there's also lots of opportunities for professional development if you're interested in becoming a facilitator yourself. So as we use assessments, the trick with all of that is that we use that information and not just file it away until the next comprehensive evaluation, right? We gather all this hopefully meaningful information about our students, and we need to use that to drive our instruction with our students, to plan our IEP goals, right? We shouldn't just be filling out evaluations and saying, well, this is great, and we'll see how the student did in 3 years when we come back to the next evaluation. The likes and dislikes inventory is an assessment that we use at the Washington Deafblind program. And it's a way to consider many different things that a child might enjoy. So I know when I ask families, well, what does your child like? If I don't guide the conversation, often what I get is, well, they like everything, or they don't like anything. So what I like about this form is that it breaks it down into categories. What foods does a child like? What smells? What about different types of touch? Are there certain textures, or, do they like light touch or heavy touch? What about different types of vibration? Are there certain toys that vibrate that they like, or do they like car rides? Are there certain sounds that they like? Music, different types of music that they might enjoy. Are there people, places, activities? And just as importantly as the students' likes are the students' dislikes. We want to avoid these things because we want to provide motivation and enjoyment throughout the student's day. So we really want to be focusing on the students' likes and knowing what we should be avoiding. So the dislikes on the back side of the page is all the exact same categories, but from the perspective of what don't they enjoy. You will notice that self-stimulation behaviors is grayed out on the dislike side, because if a student doesn't enjoy it, they won't be engaging in those behaviors. So here's an example for Christopher, who's the young man that you're going to see lots of videos of over the course of this 14-session presentation. And we saw a video of him earlier with his bedtime routine. So some of the things that he enjoys, foods, he really likes pudding, graham crackers, soda, juice. He likes the smell of strawberries and peppermint. He likes rocking forward and backward. He likes things that light up, or just lights in general. He likes things that make loud noises, bells. He really enjoys his family, his little room, his resonance board. He enjoys receiving massages and eating. For dislikes, he doesn't like meat unless it's very soft. He also doesn't like soft, furry things. So, I think sometimes it's easy for us to make assumptions because I really like soft things, but for this student, he doesn't. So we'd want to avoid those things in determining what his program is going to look like and what materials we're going to use. He doesn't like coloring and many of the preschool activities that use mostly visual skills. Those are unpreferred activities for him.